months after the leak began, BP managed to finally cap it. However, this was only part of the cleanup job. There were millions of gallons of oil floating in the Gulf of Mexico, and it was seriously harming the local wildlife, such as turtles and birds. The oil was washing up on the shores as well, and people were still very angry.
So how do oil spills like that get cleaned up? What happens to all of that oil? Well, the first step, contain the spill. Oil is insoluble, so it doesn't mix with water. Instead, it just floats on top in a layer just a few centimeters thick. Temporary floating barriers called booms corral the oil. Above the surface, the barriers kind of look like a string of floating body pillows circling the oil. Below the surface, they have a little skirt of material that extends a few feet to catch any oil below. Once the oil is rounded up, it can be scooped up with skimmers that are kind of like what you might use to get bugs out of a pool, only bigger.
With skimming, this attachment here is placed on the side of a boat, and it skims the oil off the surface of the water. To get rid of the oil, they were able to do some controlled burning. However, as this process releases carbon and soot into the atmosphere, and as such is harmful to the environment, they cannot burn it all. So they also use a chemical dispersant. Here you can see the plane dropping it over the oil-covered water.
Some dispersants contain surfactants, the stuff that makes detergents clean your clothes. They break up the oil and other dirt because their molecules have opposite ends. But some research shows that dispersants are toxic to coral, so maybe they aren't the best idea for every spill. What other tools do we have? Absorbents like clay and straw soak up some of the spill, but they also soak up a lot of water, so they're not ideal. Fortunately, science is on the case. Scientists from a Swiss materials research institute called EMPA have developed a kind of sponge made from chemically modified wood called nanofibrillated cellulose. The material soaks up oil but leaves water behind, and in lab tests they said they have absorbed up to 50 times their own weight of oil.
An interesting angle to this catastrophe, Rodney, I think is the amount of science and technology that's going into proposed cleanup solutions. And you have one of those solutions.
That's correct.
What is the SwiftShip?
The technology is basically an all-water separator, tested and proven by the Coast Guard. This is the retriever. All in water goes in here, and there's another one on the other side. Whatever you encounter is coming to you is coming in the vessel. It goes in the retriever, goes inside, and goes through the kidneys.
And what are these kidneys made of? What is that the secret sauce? Is that what allows it to be filtered?
That's the patent. We call it the kidney and liken it to the kidney in your body. And the oil is displacing the water out of the bottom of the vessel. So when you're full, you close the door and you start offloading.
Another promising aid is the massive Taiwanese vessel dubbed A Whale. Billed as the world's largest oil skimmer, a whale is supposed to be able to collect over 20 million gallons of oily water per day.